Our today's lesson is solving quadratic equations using square roots. Solve x squared equals 16. So if you look carefully at the left and right side of this equation, x squared is a square number. It's a perfect square, and so is 16. So what we can do is you can take the square root to both sides. So if I unsquare x squared, I get x. If I unsquare 16, I get 4, but be careful, this is plus or minus 4, because negative 4 times negative 4 is also 16. So you can say x equals 4 and negative 4, or plus or minus 4. All right, solve x squared equals 18. 18 is not a perfect square. So we're going to break it down into radical terms. So I could say 9 times 2. That's 18. I picked 9 times 2 because 9 is a square number. And I could take the square root of 9, which is 3. But I can't take the square root of 2, so that stays in the radical. So x is 3 radical 2. I solve x squared equals 4 plus 4 equals 10. So what I can do is I can subtract 4 to both sides. So I got x squared equals 6. And I take the square root to both sides. So I get x equals radical 6. There is no square number that divides into 6. 2 times 6 are only 2 whole numbers that multiply to 6, so I leave it as radical 6. All right, solve x minus 5 squared equals 25. Well, this is a square number. X minus 5 is one term, and 25. They're both squared numbers. So I can unsquare this, and I can unsquare 25. So I'm left with x minus 5 equals plus or minus 5. And I'm going to add 5 to both sides. So I can get 5 plus 5, or x is 5 negative 5 plus 5. So I can get 10, or I can get 0. So x is 0 or 10. All right, solve using square roots. Similarly, like the last problem, I can take the square root to both sides, because x plus 1 squared is a square number. So is 16. So I take the square root to both sides. I get x plus 1 equals plus or minus 4. And I subtract 1 to both sides. So x could equal 4 minus 1, or x could equal negative 4 minus 1. So that gives me 3, or it could be negative 5. X is negative 5, or 3. Solve 3 times x minus 1 squared plus 1 equals 10. All right, this is more complex, but one step at a time. I could subtract 1 to both sides. So I'm left with 3 times x minus 1 squared equals 9. And I have a 3 multiplied to this quantity here, so I can divide both sides by 3. So I got x minus 1 squared equals 3. And then I could take the square root to both sides. So now I'm left with x minus 1 equals radical 3. And if I add 1 to both sides, I'm left with x equals radical 3 plus 1. This concludes our lesson for today.